Another day, another podcast. Welcome back to Faith No Filter.
Real talk, real hope. Every story gets closer. Faith, no filter. Hey, come as you are, let grace get nearer. Faith, no filter. Honest hearts, clear truth, God at the center. Faith, no filter.
Alrighty, as you guys can probably see by the name of the episode, today we're going to be talking about parenting. I know I'm still very early on in the stages of parenting, but I'm just going to kind of talk about what I have learned so far and go from there. All right, so starting off, I prefer the term godly parent opposed to Christian parent. Many of you are probably thinking, aren't they the same thing? I see them as two different things, and here's why. While a Christian parent is a broad label for someone who holds the faith, a godly parent is specifically defined by intentionally modeling Christ like character and grace based living. For example, the way I see it is that it's relationship versus rules. I've been on both sides, and I think as a parent, alongside my husband, of course, have learned and grown so much, and we still continue to learn and grow. But we went from Christian parents to godly parents. They are intertwined, but different. I will admit, I used to be a lot more about rules and structure, but the more I've learned and grown, and what I've seen from others, is yes, rules and structure are very important. But overall, I think the most important thing is to have a good relationship with your children. We are called to build Christ like relationships. When we look at our relationship with Jesus, yes, we have the 10 Commandments, and yes, there are obvious do's and don'ts, but overall, the main thing Jesus wants from us is a relationship. And once we have that close relationship with Him, we will have a lot more of a desire to follow the quote unquote rules. Another example of what it means to be a godly parent is being an intentional parent. Hope for the best mentality doesn't work for any other area of life, so why would parenting be an exception? It's not. As the old saying goes, aim for nothing and you will hit every time. So we have to have an end goal in mind. Intentional parents have that end goal in mind because it's pretty much a once in a lifetime thing to raise every individual child. We have one chance to influence our children and get them ready for the rest of their lives. And we need to have a goal in mind of what we want to accomplish and how we are going to accomplish it. Like I said before, it's not just hope for the best that they'll turn out good. Do you really want to take that shot in the dark with your child's future? Like it says in Proverbs 22, verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That right there tells us that we need a plan. We can't have our children walking blindly and hope for the best. And like any good relationship, there are hard times. And to grow, there needs to be rules, obviously, and there needs to be discipline for those rules being broken because we have to learn the good and the bad. And that is all part of building that close relationship because there is no close relationship built on just the good times. The closest relationships are built on the hard times. And with parenting, that includes the crying, the tantrums, and alongside that, as parents, we have to initiate the discipline. And if I'm being honest, most of the stuff that I've learned in the past year or two comes from my husband. He is the one that pushes me to be better and to try different approaches. He's the one that started just wanting to be better, wanting to grow and learn. He just has such a eagerness to learn. So I think that's kind of rubbing off on me, but in a good way. And he has really pushed for our kids to be better than us. But in order for us to raise our kids in a way to be better than us, we need to first better ourselves. A godly parent is a growing parent. Like it says in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 10, therefore I take pleasures in infirmities, for when I am weak, then I am strong. We need to realize our weaknesses and we need to be able to admit that we need to do better and grow. Our children watch us and will learn from us, but like I said before, we need to have a goal in mind and a way to achieve that goal. So we need to get there ourselves first. We can't expect our children to be better if we aren't trying constantly to better ourselves. And I'll use my husband as an example again. Every morning he goes out for a run. And my son watches him and sees what his dad is doing. And like many or most sons, he wants to be like his daddy. So eventually, he started to ask if he could go for runs with his dad. And now, almost every morning, he goes for a run with his dad. So my husband made the decision to better himself. And in the process, my son is growing and learning and also building that relationship with his dad. If we don't have a good relationship with our kids, it'll be a lot less likely that they'll want to push to do things with us. If all our relationship with Christ was telling us what we can and can't do, and Him just watching us and punishing us when we mess up, that honestly would not be a great relationship. But Jesus gives us grace and love, and He is patient, just like we need to do. And through that, we will build a strong relationship. And we need to understand that they are children and they will mess up. We as parents have had decades to learn stuff and to be where we are today. They don't have that. They need that grace and that patience and that love. And the more of that we give, the more willing they will be to learn. Like I said before, having rules and structure is obviously very important, but it'll be a lot easier implementing that if it comes from a place of love and grace and patience rather than anger and annoyance and all the negative reactions that you could have to your kids, you know? No parent is perfect. There is no cookie cutter mold to fit the perfect parent because we are all different and our children are all different. Obviously, there are times where I have gotten angry and I have been impatient. I am no perfect parent, but that's why we should never stop trying to be better. If one thing doesn't work, try another and another and another after that. And remember, God will always be there. Like the Bible says, He will never leave us nor forsake us. He will challenge us, but it makes us stronger and wiser. Look to Him, and He will show you the way. I know I have a long, long ways to go. My children are still very young, and maybe you guys already know this stuff or have other opinions on what you've learned, but we are all learning and growing every day. At least we should be striving to. I'm also saying all of this from a mother's perspective and from watching my husband, but I can't speak for him. I am hoping to one day have him as a guest on an episode to elaborate on his views because he says things in his own way that I can't even repeat. So it would be kind of nice to have him on an episode one day. That's just kind of my views on this topic, but I'm sure you guys have different opinions, different views and comments. And if you want to share those, feel free to share your opinions. They are always welcome. And also, don't forget to share this episode with whomever you feel like that needs to hear it. But yeah, until next week, then, thank you guys so much for listening and God bless.
No filter.